She was the happiest woman in the room. A bride glowing under fairy lights, spinning on the dance floor with her new husband, her friends cheering around her and music shaking the walls. But 20 minutes later, she was gone. Not just missing, vanished. No screams. No struggle. Only her wedding dress was found, stuffed deep inside a bathroom air vent like someone wanted it never to be found. But what chilled everyone the most? Every guest swore they saw her dancing just moments before. Even the groom. Now, it started at 5 p.m. sharp. The reception was held at the Ridgeview Country Hall, a beautiful place surrounded by forest on one side and a winding gravel road on the other. It wasn't flashy, but it was charming. Wooden beams across the ceiling, golden lights woven through ivy, and a dance floor that bounced under the weight of every laugh and step. The bride, Natalie Monroe, was 27, bright, bubbly, and loved by everyone in the room. The groom, Josh Teller, had known her since college. They'd survived 4 years of long distance while he worked in Chicago, and she stayed back in Oregon. Today was the big day they finally became one. By 7:15 p.m., the guests were dancing. Natalie had kicked off her heels and was barefoot on the floor, her gown flowing as she twirled with her younger sister, Kayla. Someone had just opened the champagne tower and the DJ was switching over to more upbeat tracks. It was loud, full of laughter and flashing camera lights. Around 7:40 p.m., the first odd thing happened. Josh realized Natalie wasn't on the dance floor anymore. He wasn't worried, he just figured she went to fix her makeup or get a moment to herself. She'd been stressed during the planning, and he knew how overwhelmed she got sometimes. 10 minutes passed, then 15. He walked toward the hallway where the restrooms were. As he passed the dessert table, someone called out, "She's probably fixing her hair again. She looked perfect already." Josh chuckled, but kept walking. The hallway to the restrooms was dimly lit. One flickering light overhead made the whole space feel a little colder. The women's restroom door was closed. Josh hesitated. Obviously, he wasn't going in. He waited outside, leaning against the wall. Another guest walked by, a woman in a red velvet dress, sipping wine. "Looking for the bride?" she asked. "Yeah, just wanted to check on her." "She was just dancing a few minutes ago," the woman replied, eyebrows raised. "Didn't you two do that weird spinny dip?" Josh blinked. "No, that was like 20 minutes ago." "No," she insisted. "I swear I just saw her dancing with that little boy, her cousin, I think. Maybe 5 minutes ago?" Josh frowned. Something didn't feel right. He knocked gently on the restroom door. "Nat, you okay?" No answer. He knocked again. Waited, then pushed gently. It creaked open. Inside, everything looked normal at first. There were 3 stalls, all open and empty. The counter had makeup bags and half-empty glasses of wine. Someone's phone buzzed next to the sink. It wasn't Natalie's. Josh stepped in, feeling strange about being there, but uneasy about the silence. That's when he saw it. The floor vent beneath the sink had its screws missing. The grill cover was off, lying sideways, and inside, crammed deep into the dark metal, was white lace. He stepped closer, heart racing. It was a piece of Natalie's wedding dress, but it wasn't just a scrap. The entire bodice was shoved in, like someone had balled it up and stuffed it down. Josh stumbled back, bile rising in his throat. The door creaked behind him. He turned. Kayla was standing there now. "What's wrong? You okay?" he pointed. She stepped forward, stared, and gasped. "That's her dress." "She's not here," Josh said hoarsely. "She's not here, Kayla." A cold, clamping silence fell between them. Minutes later, the music still thumped in the background, oblivious. People were laughing. The cake was being cut. Josh and Kayla ran to the DJ booth, climbed up, and grabbed the mic. "Can everyone please stop? Please just stop the music." Josh's voice shook. "Natalie is missing." Laughter faltered. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. The DJ turned off the music with a confused expression. "What do you mean?" "She's not in the restroom." Her dress was found stuffed inside a vent in the bathroom wall," Josh said. "If anyone has seen her, like just now, please say something." People started murmuring. Several voices chimed in. "I just saw her dancing. She was just here. She passed me and waved." "No, she was near the fireplace 10 minutes ago." Josh's mind reeled. What was she wearing? There was silence. Then one woman answered, "Her wedding dress, duh." That wasn't possible. Her dress was in the vent. Kayla spoke now. Are you sure it was Natalie? Everyone started talking at once. I swear she walked past me. She hugged me goodbye like 10 minutes ago. No, I saw her behind the DJ booth. Josh clutched the edge of the table. Either this was a prank or something deeply wrong was happening. Security was called. They searched the entire venue, including the upstairs bridal suite, the caterer's prep area, even the garden and parking lot. Natalie was nowhere, but again and again, guests insisted they had seen her only moments before the announcement. No one had seen her leave. Not a single camera captured her walking out. By 9 p.m., the police arrived. Detective Carla Morales was the first on the scene. She listened carefully, checked the restroom, and had someone photograph the dress stuffed in the vent. She asked for everyone to remain in the venue until they could give a statement. A young server passed by, pale and shaken. I think I saw something weird earlier, but I thought it was nothing. Carla turned. What did you see? The server hesitated. A man, walking fast, pulling someone by the arm. Like almost dragging her. I only saw the back. I thought maybe it was a drunk couple fighting or something. Where did this happen? Carla asked. The back hallway near the storage room. But I didn't see faces, Carla nodded slowly. And for the first time that night, Josh realized something. No one had seen Natalie leave the dance floor. But maybe someone had taken her. Before we continue, let us know in the comments where you are watching from today and what time you are currently watching this video. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. The venue buzzed like a hornet's nest. Guests were pacing, whispering in corners, glancing over their shoulders. Some clutched their wine glasses tighter than before. A few sat stunned, waiting to be questioned. The joy had drained from the room. Detective Carla Morales moved quickly but calmly. She had been on the force for over a decade, and while missing persons weren't rare, this one was different. People usually vanish when no one is looking. But in this case, dozens of people swore they saw the bride alive and dancing only minutes before her dress was found stuffed into a vent. Something didn't add up. Lock the back exits. No one leaves, she told the officer by the door. Check every vehicle in the lot. I want to see IDs for everyone on staff. Josh stood near the restroom, arms crossed tightly over his chest. Kayla paced back and forth, eyes red from crying. She hadn't said much since the discovery, but she kept mumbling to herself. She was just here. I saw her. Across the room, the DJ leaned against his booth, shaken. I saw her dancing with a kid, he said to a police officer. She was laughing. I swear to God, it was her. That was, 15 minutes before the music stopped? The officer wrote it down. Carla pulled Josh aside. Did your fiancé have any enemies? Anyone who might want to harm her? Josh looked at her like she'd slapped him. No, she was loved by everyone. This isn't like her. Was there anyone at the wedding she didn't want here? Josh hesitated. There was one person. Carla's eyes narrowed. Who? My ex Amanda. I didn't invite her, but she showed up anyway. Claimed she was friends with someone on Natalie's side. Did they talk? You and Amanda? Barely. I said hello. Natalie was not thrilled she was there. Where is Amanda now? Josh looked around. I haven't seen her in over an hour. That set something off. Find Amanda Graham, Carla said to the nearest officer. She's somewhere in this room. Meanwhile, at the far side of the venue, a group of guests gathered around a long table. One of them, a man in a blue suit, was scrolling through photos on his phone. Look, he whispered. This was 5 minutes before the announcement. He turned his phone around. There was Natalie, mid-spin, her gown flowing, a smile wide on her face. Another guest leaned over. Wait, zoom in. The man pinched the screen. The image focused on Natalie's arm. A hand was gripping it, but not Josh's. Not any bridesmaids. A large, pale hand pulling at her elbow. The angle was poor, and the person's face was out of frame. I don't like that, someone muttered. That looks rough. The photo was sent to the police immediately. Back near the kitchen, Officer Mills was questioning the staff. The head chef, a short man with a thick beard, was cooperative but frazzled. We've been back here the whole time. I didn't hear anything strange. Anyone come through here unexpectedly? Mills asked. One of the waiters left the back door open for a few minutes. Said he needed air. I didn't think much of it. Mills noted it. Which one? The chef pointed. Him, the tall guy, dark jacket. But the man he pointed at was gone. Not in the kitchen, not in the hallway. Not outside, nowhere. Carla got word and immediately dispatched 3 officers to scan the perimeter. One officer checked the rear camera feed. There at 7:49 p.m., a man in a black jacket slipped out the back door. 2 minutes later, he returned, alone, looking calm. Facial recognition? Carla asked. Already running, the tech replied. Carla turned to Josh again. Did you recognize all the catering staff? No, he admitted. That was handled by Natalie's planner. The wedding planner, a tightly wounded woman named Diane, was now sobbing quietly in a chair. She'd been coordinating weddings for 20 years and never had anything like this happen. The catering team was from Tasteworks, she said through hiccups. They've done 6 weddings with us. Always professional. Carla made a note. We'll follow up. Right now we focus on this venue. She ordered a full sweep, room by room. Closet by closet, nothing. Then they reached the storage room. The doorknob was cold. The light inside flickered when they flipped the switch. Boxes of napkins, vases, string lights, and extra tablecloths lined the walls. And then a pair of shoes, white, delicate, wedding shoes, Natalie's, sitting neatly under a table, as if she'd taken them off and placed them there herself. Carla crouched, picked them up. They weren't dusty, no signs of struggle. But this was the second piece of her bridal outfit found separated from her. Her dress in the vent, her shoes here. Who's moving her things? She muttered. Kayla appeared in the doorway, voice trembling. She had those shoes made. Her initials are stitched inside. Carla handed one to her. Kayla looked inside the heel. NM, she confirmed. These are hers. Someone was leaving a trail. Carla turned sharply. We need to check the HVAC system. The vents? Asked an officer. Yes. If someone's crawling through the vents or using them to hide evidence, we need to know where they lead. Maintenance was called. Blueprints arrived from the venue office. There were 5 main vents in the building. 1 in each restroom, 1 in the bridal suite, 1 behind the kitchen, and 1, larger than the others, directly above the dance floor. Carla frowned at that. Check above the dance floor. Get someone up there. A ladder was pulled out. An officer climbed, flashlight in hand. The crowd watched silently. He reached the ceiling vent, shined his light in. Nothing visible here, he called down. No debris, no cloth, no wait, hang on. He paused. There's something scratched into the metal here. He read aloud, voice suddenly tense. Don't believe what you saw. The entire venue seemed to hold its breath after the officer read those 5 words. Don't believe what you saw. Detective Carla Morales stood frozen beneath the ladder, mind racing. She wasn't the type to jump to conclusions, but something about the message, scratched into the inside of a vent above a wedding dance floor, felt off, deliberate, chilling, but human. She called the officer down. Did you touch anything else? No, he replied. Didn't move a thing. Just saw the scratch when my light hit the metal. No fingerprints visible from up there, but the edge of the vent was a little oily. Bag the ladder steps, Carla instructed. Gloves on, collect anything the suspect might have touched. Get prints. Back on the floor, guests whispered. Some cried quietly. Others were beginning to feel angry. How could this happen at a wedding? People began blaming the staff, the planner, even the groom. Carla knew she had to keep control of the room. She took the mic from the DJ booth. Everyone listened closely. We're dealing with a disappearance. This is now a full police investigation. We need you to cooperate. No one leaves. No one deletes photos. No one edits videos. If you think you saw Natalie, talk to my team. And please, stay calm. Back near the bathrooms, Kayla sat hunched on a chair, clutching her sister's hairpin, which she'd found on the floor earlier. Josh knelt beside her. She was just dancing, Kayla said again, shaking her head. She was right there. Josh rubbed his face, frustration bubbling up. I don't get it. Everyone saw her, but her dress was in the vent. How? Was she walking around naked? Was it someone else in her dress? Kayla looked up suddenly. You think someone pretended to be her? Josh hesitated. I don't know. But what if everyone was meant to think they saw her? They both looked toward Carla, who was already pulling up the security footage again. This time she narrowed the window down to a precise moment, 7:39 p.m. to 7:46 p.m., right in the middle of the chaos. She played it at half speed, carefully watching every figure that crossed the floor. "There," she said, pointing. "Pause it." The technician froze the frame. A woman was dancing. From behind, the resemblance was uncanny. Same dress, same hair, same barefoot steps. But then she turned slightly. Her face wasn't Natalie's. "Zoom in," Carla said. It was a woman with similar features, but not quite. The face was thinner, the makeup lighter. She didn't smile. Her eyes were scanning the crowd while she danced. "She wanted to be seen," Carla said quietly. Josh stared in disbelief. "Who is that?" "I don't know yet," Carla replied. "But I'll find out." In the kitchen, another officer shouted, "Got something." Carla and Josh rushed in. A duffel bag had been found tucked under a prep table. It wasn't labeled, and it wasn't on the staff packing list. Inside were wet wipes, makeup remover, a wig blonde and curled, and a bottle of dark foundation. "Disguise kit," the officer said. A photo was taped to the inside flap of the bag. Josh's blood ran cold. It was a printed photo of Natalie, smiling, standing outside the venue during her bridal shoot. A second photo was tucked behind it, Natalie hugging someone, but their face had been blacked out with marker. Carla's voice was tight. "We need fingerprints off everything in this bag. And pull background checks on every staff member hired through Tasteworks. One of them isn't who they claim to be." Just then, an officer from outside ran in. "We found Amanda Graham," Josh stiffened. She was sitting on the back steps of the venue, arms wrapped around her knees, staring out at the woods. Her makeup was smeared, and she looked tired more than anything else. Carla approached. "Amanda," she nodded slowly. "You've been missing for over an hour. Where did you go?" Amanda didn't answer right away. Finally, she sighed. "I didn't do anything, I felt stupid for coming." "Why did you come?" She gave a weak smile. "To see him. To see them together. I told myself it was for closure." "Did you speak to Natalie?" "No. I stayed away from her. I drank a glass of wine, then went outside when I started crying. I didn't want to cause a scene." "Did you see her disappear?" "No. Her eyes were honest. I swear I didn't see anything." Carla studied her for a few seconds, then stepped back. She believed her. Amanda looked too broken to be part of something this organized. Inside, a breakthrough came from the tech team. "We found something odd," a technician said. On the footage at 7:42 p.m., a staff member in catering walks into the women's bathroom. Comes out 90 seconds later. He's holding a duffel bag. They ran the video. A man in a dark jacket with slicked back hair. No name tag. "There's our impersonator," Carla muttered. In the video, he slipped behind a large curtain near the side exit. 2 minutes later, the bride reappeared and began dancing again. The fake bride, which meant Natalie was already gone. Carla connected the timeline quickly now. He used the duffel bag to dress someone up to look like her. Just long enough to buy time. Josh said nothing. He looked like he was trying not to throw up. The technician zoomed in again. The fake bride's movements were off. Jerky, nervous, she avoided too much contact. Every turn was fast. She avoided people getting too close. They played the footage again. This time, the fake bride danced in front of the fireplace, Natalie's favorite spot, and stood there for a full minute sipping wine. Then, at 7:46 p.m., she slipped behind a curtain. She never came back out. "No exit," Carla said. Which means she changed again. She left looking like someone else. A man or a staff member, or maybe someone in the crowd, someone who could blend in. Carla scanned the room slowly, heart pounding. Whoever did this was still in the building. The air in the venue had changed. By now, even the most optimistic guest knew something was very wrong. The food was untouched. The cake, still beautiful and untouched, sat in the corner like a cruel joke. People didn't sit anymore. They stood, pacing in clusters, phones in their hands, whispering theories, doubts, fear. Detective Carla Morales stood at the front of the room like a conductor in a storm. Her notebook was already filled. The security footage had confirmed it. Someone had dressed up as Natalie, danced in front of everyone, and vanished just before the real Natalie's dress was found stuffed inside the restroom vent. This wasn't just a disappearance anymore. This was planned, carefully, Josh had barely spoken since the revelation. He sat near the restroom where the dress had been found, head in his hands. Kayla sat beside him, rubbing his back. "What if she's not?" he whispered. "Don't," Kayla said firmly. "Don't even think it." Meanwhile, the investigation continued. Carla had her team split into pairs. One group was combing through every guest's phone for photos and videos taken between 7:30 and 7:50. Another team had focused on the staff. That's where the next break came. Officer Mills stood near a whiteboard, red marker in hand. On the left, a printed sheet of the catering staff's official hires, names, photos, references. On the right, CCTV images of people actually working the event. "There's someone on video who's not in the hire list," Mills said. He circled a face. Tall man, clean-shaven, with short hair. Wore black gloves. Never looked at the camera directly. Carla leaned in. "Anyone recognize him?" No one did. "Find out what company Tasteworks hired extra from. Call every temp agency they've used in the last month." They were running out of time. At 10:42 p.m., an officer came in from the parking lot. "Detective, I've got something." He held out a cell phone in a Ziploc bag. It had a pink floral case, cracked screen. Josh stood up instantly. "That's hers." "Where was it?" "In the gravel beside the dumpsters. Screen down. Someone probably tossed it. We only saw it because of the reflective case." Carla slipped on gloves and carefully opened the bag. The phone was locked. They handed it to Josh. "Try her code." Josh typed in 4 digits. It unlocked. No recent texts. Nothing strange. Last photo was a mirror selfie in the bridal suite before the ceremony. Then Carla clicked open the video gallery. A file had been saved just 2 hours earlier. She hit play. The screen flickered to life. It was a video of Natalie. She was filming herself in the bathroom mirror, whispering, "Okay, this is stupid, but I feel like someone's watching me. I don't know, maybe it's the wine. Or nerves. But someone's been standing near the hallway every time I go to the restroom. Same guy, black jacket, kind of pale, just staring." She gave a nervous laugh. "Maybe I'm just being dramatic. It's probably nothing. But if I'm wrong and something happens, well, at least this is on my phone." The video ended. The room was silent. Josh wiped his face. Kayla shook her head slowly, processing every word. She knew, Carla said. She felt it. She turned to her team. "Start pulling all hallway footage where she might have crossed paths with him. Bathroom entrances, storage doors, kitchen doors. I want to know where that man was at every moment." Within 20 minutes, they had a timeline. The man in the black jacket had followed Natalie into the bathroom hallway at 7:30 p.m. At 7:32 p.m., he exited alone. Carrying the duffel bag, the fake bride appeared shortly after. So what happened between 7:30 and 7:32? Carla walked back to the women's restroom. Everything had already been dusted. Photos taken, the vent cover bagged and tagged. But something still gnawed at her. She stepped inside again, looked up, then crouched beside the vent. She peered into the opening with her flashlight. Not just lace, not just cloth. Further in, tucked nearly out of sight, was something small. She reached for her glove. Carefully, she used a long tweezer tool to pull it out. A silver earring, the kind Natalie wore that day. No blood, no signs of violence. Just left behind, planted, she stood slowly. Turned to the stalls again, then she froze. The mirror. "Get me footage from inside the hallway that shows this mirror," she called out. Within minutes, they had it. Footage showed the man entering the bathroom after Natalie. At 7:32 p.m., he left, but something was odd. His height. "Wait, zoom in," Carla said. In the mirror reflection just before the door swung open, the man was taller than he looked when he exited. Why? Because when he left, he wasn't the same man. "Rewind," she ordered. 2 men had entered that hallway in less than 90 seconds apart. One went into the men's room, one went into the women's. Only one left. Carla's eyes widened. 2 people. One left wearing the other's clothes. That's why the build changed. That's how they threw them off. The second man, who entered unnoticed, walked out wearing the first man's black jacket and hat. Meanwhile, the original suspect never came back out, which meant he's still inside. They'd been searching the guests and checking the exits, but they hadn't gone back into the walls. Carla rushed to the storage room again. Clear the shelves. Check behind everything. Officers tore through boxes, pushed racks aside. Nothing, until one officer pulled on a broom closet handle and it jammed. He yanked it harder. A panel inside the closet popped open slightly, revealing a crawl space behind the wall, barely big enough for a person. "Someone's been in here," he said. They followed the narrow gap. Flashlights scanned the space. Empty bottles, a food wrapper, a small folded photo. Carla opened it. Natalie, again, but this one was different. It was a printed shot of her, walking her dog, from far away. Someone had been watching her for a long time. Before we continue, let us know in the comments where you are watching from today, and what time you are currently watching this video. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. The room fell into a dead silence when Detective Carla Morales unfolded that photograph. It was Natalie again, but not on her wedding day. She looked casual, unaware, wearing a hoodie and sneakers, walking her dog through what looked like a neighborhood park. The photo had been taken from a distance, through bushes maybe, or from behind a parked car. Carla stared at it for a few seconds, then looked back at the crawl space. Whoever had been in here wasn't a stranger. They'd been watching her for a while. "Bag this," she said, handing the photo to one of the officers. "I want to know who printed it, where, when. I want to track that printer if I have to." Inside the tight wall space, dust floated in their flashlights. The area smelled like insulation and sweat. Someone had definitely crawled through here recently. There were boot prints in the dust, some fibers stuck to the edges of the wall. The space ended near a fuse box that opened to the janitor's hallway, just 20 feet from the side exit. It was a clean route, hidden, used for deliveries or escapes. Carla stood up straight and turned to Officer Mills. "How many people left this building between 7:30 and now without being rechecked?" He looked at his list. "Just 2. One was a woman who got sick and went to her car. The other, hang on," he flipped pages. "Richard Kemper, 43, worked for the decor team, signed out at 8:11 p.m. Claimed he had to go pick up more battery lights." Carla frowned. "Who approved that?" "Diane, the planner." They called Diane over. She arrived with puffy eyes, her heels clicking fast. "Do you remember letting a man named Richard Kemper leave?" She shook her head. "I don't remember that name. I didn't let anyone leave without asking security." They checked the guest list again. No Richard Kemper. The sign-out sheet had his name and a signature, but the handwriting looked forced, slanted like it was rushed. They pulled security footage of the man who left at 8:11. There he was, hoodie up, clipboard in hand, carrying a large tote bag. Not in a hurry, just walking calmly down the side hall toward the loading dock. "Freeze that," Carla said. "Zoom in." The face wasn't fully visible, but there was something familiar. "Run this against the catering suspect," she said. "Same jawline, same height. It's him," Mills confirmed. He left wearing a different uniform. The man had changed again, left under a new name, and by the time they realized it, he was already gone. Back inside, Josh stood near the window, staring out into the dark parking lot. "I should have noticed something," he said quietly. "I should have seen if someone was acting weird or following her." Kayla stepped beside him. "She told me a week ago that she'd been getting weird notes." Josh turned. "What?" "She didn't want to scare you. She thought it was just pranks. But she found 2 notes inside her mailbox at the apartment. Handwritten, no envelope. Both said the same thing." Kayla reached into her clutch and pulled out a folded paper. "I saw you at the bookstore. You smiled at me, I won't forget it." Josh read it in silence. "Who would do this?" "I don't know. But she said she'd seen a man standing outside her work a couple of times too. She said she got the feeling she'd seen him before, but couldn't place where." Carla stepped over and gently took the note from Josh. "You should have told someone sooner," she said. "I know," Kayla replied. "I didn't think it was connected." "And she said it stopped." Carla nodded slowly. "We're dealing with a stalker, someone who watched her for months, possibly longer, built a fake identity, got into her wedding using catering or decor team as cover, then set up a way to disappear without leaving a trace." The room shifted again, like everyone was finally realizing just how far this had gone. Someone cleared their throat from the back of the room. It was the videographer. I've been reviewing footage, he said, holding up his laptop. Something's off in the background of the first dance. He brought it forward. The video started, Natalie and Josh dancing slowly, soft lights above them, guests forming a circle around the floor. But at the far corner, near the catering entrance, a man was standing perfectly still, not smiling, not watching the couple, just recording with his phone. "Who is that?" Carla asked. "Not on our vendor list," the videographer replied. "And look here, 5 minutes later he's gone. Doesn't show up in any other angle." Carla paused the video. The man's phone was pointed not at the couple, but directly at Natalie's face. "This guy didn't care about the dance," she said. "He was recording her." The photographer joined them next. "I've been checking the group photos. Look." He pointed to one from earlier in the evening before the ceremony. People were mingling in the garden. Far in the background, out of focus, stood the same man, same build, same haircut, looking straight at the bride. "This was all planned from the beginning," Carla said under her breath. "He didn't just crash the wedding. He was already inside it." One officer approached her with a printout. "Got a hit on the photo found behind the wall," he said. "Printed at a self-service kiosk 6 miles from here. We pulled the security footage." He handed over a photo of the same man, wearing sunglasses, hoodie pulled low. Paid cash, printed only 2 photos. Natalie's dog walking shot and a second, her at a coffee shop. "That's 2 different locations," Mills said. "He followed her for weeks." Carla looked up. If he was this obsessed, then this wasn't random. He planned everything. Every outfit, every camera angle, every step. She turned back to the crowd. And someone in this room may have helped him without knowing it. Before we continue, let us know in the comments where you are watching from today and what time you are currently watching this video. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. The night had turned cold. A few of the guests had stepped outside for air, holding themselves tightly, whispering behind their hands. Some were on the phone with family, trying to explain what was happening. Others simply stared into space, stuck in shock. Inside the venue, the tension was heavier than ever. Detective Carla Morales stood at the head table, her notepad open, voice calm but firm. "Here's what we know," she said to the remaining guests and staff, her tone cutting through the noise. The woman dancing in the last moments before Natalie's disappearance wasn't her. That person was a decoy wearing makeup, a wig, and possibly padded clothing. She glanced at Josh, who looked pale, his hands clenched under the table. "We believe the real Natalie was lured or forced into a private space, likely the bathroom hallway, and removed from the venue while everyone was distracted by the imposter." She turned a page in her notebook. "We believe the person responsible was inside the wedding for at least 3 hours. He blended in with catering staff, used at least 2 different disguises, and escaped under a false name." Murmurs rippled through the room. Someone in the back asked the question everyone was thinking. "Where is she now?" Carla looked up. "We don't know yet, but we're close." Just then, an officer burst in from the hallway. "Detective, I think we found something." Everyone turned. "Where?" Carla asked, already walking toward him. "Behind the Ave room." One of the servers noticed the air was cold, like unusually cold. When he opened the utility panel, he saw this. They led her down the side hallway to a narrow door marked maintenance. Inside, it looked like a normal storage room, wires, breakers, cleaning supplies. But behind a tall metal cabinet, partially slid aside, was another gap. A rectangular opening barely 3 feet wide, leading into another crawl space. "Someone's been in here too," the officer said. "There's a food wrapper dated 2 days ago, water bottle, and something else." He held out a Ziploc bag with a folded paper inside. It was a map of the venue, not a printed floor plan, but a hand-drawn sketch. The rooms were labeled in pencil: dance floor, restroom, exit, back gate. Arrows were drawn, showing how to move through the building. Vent routes, hallways, escape timings. Carla took a photo of the map, then folded it carefully. This wasn't random, this was rehearsed. She turned to Officer Mills. "Get dogs. I want every inch of this building searched. If he was here for days, he may have hidden something, or someone, he planned to come back for." Josh stepped forward. "You think she's still in the building?" Carla looked him dead in the eyes. I'm saying I don't rule anything out. Outside, the tech team had pulled together one final discovery. A guest had uploaded a 360-degree photo of the dance floor to social media, taken just 10 minutes before the dress was found. At first glance, it looked like nothing special. People were dancing, the music was loud, the lights were low, but in one corner near a curtain, someone had forgotten to hide. A figure stood just behind the curtain edge, not quite visible, but the glint of a phone screen could be seen in their hand. Same black jacket, same wristwatch seen in the video earlier. Carla pulled that frame and printed it. They were looking at a man who had successfully hidden among the crowd multiple times. He never smiled. He never danced. He only watched. Then the big break came. One of the kitchen staff, a young guy named Miguel, nervously approached Carla. I didn't think it mattered earlier, but now I'm not sure. What is it? Well, when we were prepping the hors d'oeuvres, a guy from decor came through and asked if he could take some drinks out to the loading dock. Said some lights had to be cooled down. He had a badge. Clipboard sounded official. Carla narrowed her eyes. What time? Maybe 7:20, just before the music got louder. What did he take? 2 bottles of sparkling water and a small towel. Said it was to clean the lenses. She looked at Mills. He's setting up a drop zone, a place to change or stash things. The team ran out back. The loading dock was empty. But behind one of the old equipment boxes, they found it. Another uniform, neatly folded. Inside the breast pocket, a name badge. James Cole Guest Tech. That name wasn't on any vendor list. Inside the pocket was a USB stick. They rushed it to the tech team. The contents were simple. A folder called Recordings, inside audio files. Carla opened the first one, Natalie's voice. Laughing, she was talking to Kayla. It was from 2 weeks ago. If Josh ever tries to sneak a peek at the dress, I'll make him sleep on the couch for a year. The second file was from a cafe, Natalie ordering a coffee. The third, her walking the dog, talking on the phone, complaining about a late delivery. Carla's hands clenched the mouse. These were private moments, all recorded without her knowing. The stalker had been everywhere, listening, planning, and now he had her. Suddenly another officer ran inside, breathless. We got an ID hit off the face scan. Carla turned instantly. Who is he? Name's Brent Logan, 39. Former audio tech, fired from his last 2 jobs. One for stalking a female colleague. Another for planting a hidden camera in a client's bedroom. Did he serve time? No convictions. Charges dropped both times. Carla cursed under her breath. Where does he live? Last address is a storage unit 30 minutes from here. Listed as temporary residence. She didn't hesitate. Mobilize a unit. We're going there now. They moved fast. Detective Carla Morales didn't wait for full backup. She, Officer Mills, and 2 tactical officers drove straight to the address pulled from Brent Logan's ID, a self-storage facility just outside the city. Quiet, dimly lit, surrounded by an iron fence and rows of steel doors. It was 11:48 p.m. By the time they arrived, the manager was already on site, keys in hand, nervous and sleepy. This is the unit, he said, pointing to number 204. He paid in cash, month to month. Didn't store furniture. Just came and went late at night. Always wore a cap, kept his head down. What did he bring in here? Carla asked. The man shrugged. Camera bags, mostly. A suitcase once. The metal door was dented at the bottom, like someone had kicked it hard before. Carla gave the order. Unlock it. We're going in. The manager stepped back and turned the key. With a slow, metallic groan, the door rolled up. Carla's heart beat faster. The inside wasn't filled with boxes. It looked lived in. A small camping mattress lay on the floor. There were water bottles stacked in the corner. A laptop sat open on a crate, its screen still on. Next to it, rope, duct tape, wet wipes, and a sealed plastic container. But what made her breath catch was the wedding photo tacked to the inside wall. Natalie smiling, a red X drawn over Josh's face. She moved in fast, clear it, top to bottom. The officers swept the space. Nothing in the container but clothes. Food wrappers under the mattress. Notes scrawled on small paper scraps. Timetables, street names, Natalie's daily schedule. On the laptop, files were open. Photos of Natalie in her apartment complex. Images of her on her morning runs. One video, Her unlocking her door, unaware someone across the street was recording. Carla pulled out her radio. "We've got solid evidence of stalking. This was premeditated. We need to find Brent Logan. He's not here. He left recently." Just then, Officer Mills shouted from the other side of the unit. "Ma'am, you need to see this." Behind a false plywood wall panel, they found a second door, locked from the outside. Carla stepped closer. "Thermal check, see if there's heat inside." A moment later, the reading came in, warm. Someone was behind that door. "Move," Carla said. The team pried the door open in one hard pull. A narrow room, barely big enough to stand in. And in the corner, tied to a pipe, eyes wide, was Natalie. Alive, she was wearing a black hoodie, no shoes. Her hands were zip-tied, her mouth covered with a piece of cloth. Josh's name came out muffled from behind the gag. Carla moved first. "We've got her." "Call EMS now." She rushed in and gently cut the ties. Natalie collapsed into her arms, trembling but breathing. Hey, Carla said softly, holding her steady. "You're okay. We've got you. You're safe now." Natalie was in shock, her lips cracked, face pale. She'd been missing for hours, but she was alert, conscious, alive. The paramedics arrived fast. As they wheeled her into the ambulance, Carla rode with her, holding her hand. "Do you remember anything?" she asked. Natalie blinked slowly, then gave a shaky nod. "Yes," her voice was hoarse. "He was one of the tech guys. I didn't recognize him at first. I thought he was helping with the mics." Carla nodded. "Then what happened?" "I went to the bathroom. He followed me in. Said there was a problem with the speaker near the vents. He asked me to help him check the noise." She looked away, tears forming. "He pushed me, covered my mouth, said he'd been watching me for months, that he loved me, that Josh wasn't good enough for me." Carla kept her voice calm. "Did he hurt you?" "No, just tied me up. Kept saying this wasn't the end, that he'd come back later." Carla gently squeezed her hand. "He won't, I promise." Outside the unit, officers were already securing the scene. They collected all the photos, the maps, the USB drives, and the laptop. Everything would go into evidence. At 1:03 a.m., Brent Logan's stolen vehicle was found abandoned at a rest stop 20 miles away. He had ditched it and vanished into the night. But now they had his face, his prints, his name. Every officer in the state was on alert. By sunrise, his photo was on every screen in every station. Josh met Natalie at the hospital just after dawn. He sat beside her bed, holding her hand, eyes red but wide with relief. "I thought I lost you," he said. Natalie looked at him for a long moment, then pulled his hand closer. "I thought I was gone," she whispered, but I held on. Later, when Carla walked into the room, Natalie sat up. "There's something else," she said. "What is it?" "I remember a sound." Carla tilted her head. "What kind of sound?" "Like a camera, clicking. He was taking pictures of me while I was tied up," Carla nodded grimly. "That helps. If he tries to send or store those photos, we can trace him. And he would slip, sooner or later." 2 weeks later, Brent Logan was caught. He was found hiding in a small boat rental cabin across state lines. He had shaved his head, burned his clothes, and was using a fake ID under the name Cole Warner. But it didn't work. The cameras caught him buying batteries in a grocery store. A sharp-eyed officer recognized him. He didn't resist. He was arrested, charged with kidnapping, stalking, unlawful surveillance, and impersonation. Natalie testified in court, so did Josh, Kayla, and several wedding guests. Brent sat in silence, never once making eye contact with Natalie. He was sentenced to 25 years without parole. Back home, Natalie moved away quietly with Josh. They changed apartments, numbers, daily routines. But one thing didn't change. Every now and then she still danced in their living room, barefoot and smiling this time, not under chandeliers or in front of strangers, but in safety. Because now she could finally live without looking over her shoulder.